Contradiction number 11. Moral progress equals immorality. Our society often boasts that we are more liberal with regards to certain things than in recent ages, like sex. However, any shift in principle engenders the problem of vagueness. That is, we are no longer sure when something shifts from being moral to immoral because we don't know where the boundary lies. For example, we find child pornography immoral and disturbing today, whilst adult pornography is acceptable because, in the case of the latter, the actors are at an age of consent. And the viewers are at an age of, well, mature, let's put it this way. Well, over half a century ago, any pornography was immoral. Does that mean we're only a few decades away from child pornography being acceptable? What about viewing pornography? If anyone was to view pornographic content about half a century ago, it would have been in private and probably in secret. It just wasn't acceptable in mainstream society. Then came progress, and pornography became more acceptable, but only to adults. Even as recently as 3 decades ago, a child caught with pornographic content in a school was instantly expelled. Now, walk into any school on a lunch break and you'll find groups of children as young as 10 years old. Sometimes, well, usually groups of boys, watching pornography on their phones, and this is now acceptable. Now, I'm not arguing about pornography here. I'm not evaluating pornography in itself. I'm saying something more fundamental. Regarding sexual ethics, I no longer know where the boundary of right or wrong is. And when I say I mean society. And this skepticism comes from the shifts in morality in the last century or so. Am I really to trust that what is acceptable today is actually morally permissible when it was so very wrong just a few decades ago? If so, there is such a thing as moral, if there's such a thing as moral progress, on what basis am I to believe that what I call wrong or right today is objectively wrong or right? And will I not change these views in a few decades because society tells me to? I'm just saying one can no longer listen to a person of social authority, police, teacher, media publisher, politician, whatever, and take them at their word when they make moral judgments. Take any other, take anything else you consider as wrong in the area of sexual ethics, child pornography, sexual assault, infidelity, incest. We must now all consider their moral status as vague because of recent shifts. All these immoral things may be completely permissible in the next 20 years. By making immoral things moral in the recent past, we are actually more likely to cause immorality by today's standards in the future. But by then, we'll have stopped calling it immoral and allowed it to be acceptable.